Hi guys, it's Melissa from My Puzzle Life. Excuse the look because it has been a rough night and day so far. This is just kind of a video to kind of keep y'all updated to what's kind of gone on. Well, I haven't been on a whole lot. I hope it's not 4 o'clock because I just got exclamation points from Sean. I'm sure it's not 4 o'clock yet. But and I jumped up to get ready because I was actually going to pick up all the groceries on the video that you're going to see today too. And he's like, Mom, I've got to go to work. He thought he worked this evening, but he didn't. He worked today. He's homeschooled, so public schools here started back today, and he is the only server where he works, so they worked him. So I ran him to work. I ran to get my Walmart my Walmart pickup. And then I went by United and got a few other groceries that I needed that Walmart was out of, since of course with school starting they were out of a lot of the snacky lunch kind of different things like that, so it was hard to get. So as everybody knows, Mom passed away February 25th. There was a lot going on with Billy at the time, and if y'all remember the 2 wedding marriage thing kind of incident, well, he ends up running off again, and it has been 10 years of nothing but ups and downs with that man. He would be here, he would run off, wouldn't hear from him. Maybe a month later he'd come back, and it was a repeated cycle for 10 years. So somebody's car is idling outside, and it kind of makes me nervous because he's been driving around harassing and stalking, so it kind of makes me a little nervous to hear it kind of rumbling. But it could be the truck next door because they have a loud truck. But I don't know. He's been calling today. That's why it's kind of bothering me and harassing. But he left, and then he started his crap again. Your mom's burning in hell. If you know, my mom got cremated, and I was really very upset about that. So on my other video, we're seeing you know who your family is and who you can trust when things like this happens. May not always be your siblings. So Mom had a plot beside Dad to be buried. So I did not go to the memorial service. Sean and I actually went to Red Lobster, and that was my mom's favorite restaurant, and we had lunch when they were having the memorial service and talked about her, stuff like that. Well, kind of fast forward, Jeff came back with just stop the divorce. Well, I can remember doing it. I ended up having a lot of blackouts. I look like crap, but y'all forgive me. I ended up having a lot of blackouts between, I guess, March and mid-April. I do remember signing the paper to pull it. And then my daughter comes in one day, and she's like, Mom, what is the fuck is he doing here? And I'm like, I don't know, Nat. I don't even know what's been going on. So, I ended up, somehow, Mike and I we dated in high school. He was my first everything. So, y'all get the gist, first of everything. And we ended up hooking back up on June 9th. So, he came over. It was when Jeff was still here, but keep in mind, I do not consider him, well, I'm not even going to say his name, I should have. I do not consider him an ex. He was just a casualty of, I don't know a better way to say it, war. Between my mom, Billy, he just happened to fall into the wrong place, wrong time kind of thing. He slept on the sofa. There was nothing. And Mike came over, and he was kind of upset because his clothes and stuff were in there, but in my room, because my closet, I have a huge closet, so his stuff was in there. And he was kind of upset. And I probably should have called him, but I messaged him. I messaged him. He was at work, and I told him I apologize for everything I'd ever done. But I told him I know we're not in love. We never have been. Let's just end it now. I called the courthouse back. I reinstated the divorce. He goes up there the other day. He signs the wrong paper. He signed the paper to pull it. And so I had to go back up there and fix it. So hopefully my divorce is final. I don't know. I called yesterday. I left them a voicemail in the 89th District Court to see if they were signed, because they said they should just go ahead and sign them now, because it's been over a year. It's been a year this month that I filed. I actually had kicked him out last April. So we haven't, it was just wrong decisions. And so anyway, back to Billy. He found out about Mike. So he started calling me again. You're a whore. Your mama's burning in hell. I'm going to beat, y'all, I'm going to set my phone down for 1 second. Mike, I'm going to beat his ass. All that crap. And this particular few days, Mike wasn't here. He lives an hour away. So, I was kind of down because he wasn't here. I don't sleep in my room if he's not here because I have nightmares. So I sleep on the sofa if he's not here. And this particular night, I've actually been taking Xanax since Mom passed for my anxiety, but he didn't like me taking it. So I wasn't taking it. I had the bottle sitting on my dresser. And I remember talking to him, and I said, I want to take some Xanax and I'm just going to go to sleep. I said, I just can't handle this anymore. And at the time, he thought I meant him and me. And I'm like, no, I cannot handle Billy anymore. And I remember taking 2 Xanax. And I can remember a sleeping pill, maybe 2, possible 2. Because sometimes I did take 2. So it wouldn't have been unusual if I had taken 2. And I must have blacked out at that point. And God, y'all, I don't know how I did it. It had to be my mom, my dad, and God in that room with me that night. Because somehow, I didn't even call 911. Somehow I was able to call the hospital. And I can kind of vaguely remember saying, I think I took pills. I blacked out again. And the next thing I know, I kind of come to again, and there are firemen and paramedics all over my room. And I heard one of them say she took 27 Xanax. And I kept thinking I was trying to say it. I took sleeping pills, but I couldn't do anything at that point because I think I was going in and out of consciousness. But I was thinking, God, I took sleeping pills. I just got to tell them I took sleeping pills. Blacked out again. Several days later, I woke up in the hospital. I still wasn't, and that was 2 or 3 days later, I still wasn't fully alert where I could communicate. I remember a sweet black lady, though. They had her sitting with me, and she kept talking to me and trying to give me drinks and stuff. And that day, they told me I was either going to have to go to a private hospital because they thought I tried to kill myself. Nobody had ever got to the point because I wasn't able to communicate. So nobody knew what had happened. Everybody knew about my mom. Mike thought that I was trying to kill myself because he hadn't been here. I wasn't even suicidal at all. I'd even posted on Facebook that I finally felt at peace. And I wasn't trying to commit suicide. And they told me that with the death, that with me watching my mom die and the trauma that Billy has caused me for these 10 years, that my mind is shutting down when I start feeling the trauma or getting attacked like by him. That particular was like for 3 days in a row, that my body is shutting down and that I'm blacking out. There's nothing they can do for the blackouts. Of course, they diagnosed PTSD. Only thing they give for that is antidepressant. I took for 2 days and my mouth is so dry I couldn't take it anymore. And yes, I do need to call them, but I haven't. So on the way home, I was talking to my cousin when Sean picked me up from the hospital. He brought me home, and he's hearing what I'm saying. And I know in his mind, and y'all forgive my language in this video because I know what he was thinking. That motherfucker is trying to threaten to kill her all these years. And he finally broke her enough for her to kill herself. And he's like, oh, fuck no. He said, I'm calling that motherfucker. And he calls him and he says, motherfucker. He said, you bring it. He said, because I'm going to beat your fucking ass. So we get home, and Sean gets ready. He didn't go to work that night. He actually was going out with his friend from work. They were going out. And I just messaged one of my best friends. And when I sent her the message, I'm like, today is the 3rd. So I got out of hospital on August 3rd. I'd overdosed around the 28th or so. So whatever time frame that is. And when I sent the message, it dawned on me, today's the 3rd. If he's not in town, he's on his way. Well, a friend called, and I was talking to her, and the way he always lets me know he's here is he'll start driving by honking. Well, that's what happened 3 or 4 times while I was on the phone. And I told her, I said, I don't even want Mike here tonight, because I knew what was going to happen. And she called him, and he's like, oh hell no, I'm going to Wichita Falls, not Kansas, Texas. We're in Texas. So next thing I know, he's here. He said, well, were you going to tell me about Billy? I'm like, I wasn't. So he said, well, let's go outside for a while. He said, you've been in that damn hospital for a week. Let's go outside and get some air. And it was nice. A cold front had come in, I guess, while I was in the hospital. So it was nice in the evening. A lot of fireflies out. Beautiful evening. He's like, where's the motherfucker? No, he'll probably be back. We're sitting out there. We start talking, and we're sitting there, and Mike gets up, and he's between my SUV and his car. And I'm sitting in a chair, and I look up, and there he comes. And I don't think he saw Mike at the time. And Mike's yelling for me to get in the house. So I go in the house. Mike jumps in his car and takes off after him. I run back outside after Sirius plows into me and knocks me down. So I'm looking for Sirius. I'm calling Sean because he had both my keys, so I could try to go after him. Didn't know really what to do. So, and I'm standing out there waiting for like gunshots to start firing, because that's all I could think of. They're about to start shooting. And finally Mike comes back, and we're talking, and he said something. I said, I know exactly where he's at. He's like, how do you know? I think he thought I was talking to him. I wasn't, other than what everybody knew. When I told him I did, that's what I did. And he said, come on. I shouldn't have done that. That was a big mistake. So I do not recommend doing that. Nothing ended up happening, but I still shouldn't have risked everybody, because he wanted to take me home after I shut him. And I did. I took him right where he was. He said, how do you know? I said, because I know him better than I know myself. I know the man. So we did there. They had this little bit of a standoff. Billy takes off, and I have no makeup, so y'all forgive me. Like I said, I jumped up, and I've been running since. And y'all will see the other videos I've done, because I'm posting them all today. Then I'm going to start doing little clips for y'all to see. Even if it's just of Sean working on his car, or cooking videos or something. I don't even know what I'm cooking tonight. But Sean's eating pizza. I got a little bit of a Chinese from a food truck a while ago, and I took a few bites. And that's it. So I might heat that up. And hopefully he'll have pizza left over he can bring home. But anyway, they chased each other. Well, he chased him down, and he ended up losing him. So, kind of moving fast forward a little bit. Thought it had ended. I ended up checking my voicemails, I guess Monday, and there was a voicemail from last Wednesday with him giving sounds of cutting my tires. Again, it's not like it's not something new. I don't like it's anything new. He's cut them many times. More than the years that we've been back and forth, he's cut them. My family anybody that was connected with me, he's cut pretty much. If he could find them, he cut them. And this is from dry mouth, so don't be freaked out about that, because I went to the doctor yesterday. I get to that too. And we're sitting outside again. It had to be last week sometime, and he drives by again. That particular day, Sean and I were going down a main street in town, and I look over, and there's this truck. I didn't even think he was in town at this point. And I told Sean, I said, drive around and let me get the tag number. And I did. The police were glad that I got the tag number. So they had the tag number. That particular night, we're sitting out there. He drives by again. Next thing I know, Mike is speeding off. Next thing I know, Sean jumps in a car and is speeding off. And I did play dirty. I'm not going to lie. I kept thinking they wouldn't come back. They kept like, I'll be back in a little bit. And I knew what they were doing. They were after him. And I'm thinking, what can I do? What do I do? So I call Billy, and I'm like, I'm right here by myself. Come get me. And then I put them all on, a group call. And Billy and I are just screaming back and forth. And I can hear Mike talking. Really couldn't hear Sean. I think Sean kind of got pushed out of the back of it because everybody else was going like 90 to nothing. And try to think where I'm at. All I could think of is the one thing that's most important to them, besides getting him, is protecting me. So it was the only thing. I know it was a dirty trick, but it got them back. So kind of moving a little forward again, he's been harassing my son, calling him, threatening to kick his ass, all that great stuff that people like that do. And that's the one thing he knows is going to get to me, is trying to get at my son. So I know what he's trying to do is trying to lure me back this narcissistic way. And that's the one thing that's going to make me communicate. You leave my son alone. I'm right here. Come get me. It's between us. Leave them out. And that's kind of been what I'm going through. So it's been like nonstop with him constantly. I woke up I got up at 5, and I woke up Mike after I did his laundry last night. His work closed. So after I went to bed, it was like I said, a kind of a traumatic evening for me. So I really am probably proud of myself that I haven't blacked out today. I kind of ended up seeing the warning signs after I was released on when I was about to. And apparently Sirius, our black German Shepherd, knows what I'm about to too, because he won't stay away from me. He trails me, or he lays on me and stays across me when I'm about to black out. So I know the warnings now. So I woke up this morning and my phone was blowing up, and it was Billy. And he was listening to voicemails, I guess, on another phone that he had. Well, it's probably the phone number that I have, and he's calling me from a block number. And he keeps calling, and I hang up. I just say a few words, which I should have interacted, but anger gets the best of me. And he gets to the one that I've said, do not call my son. I've gone and I've filed charges against you, and etc. So then he calls and leaves a message. I'm talking to Mike, and the phone rings again. And he leaves a message, don't you call me or I'm going to file charges against you. Don't have to tell me twice. Don't call me, I won't call you. Don't involve my son, and I won't call you. I don't call you unless you're involving my son. And then it's on. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Don't know what to do about him. There's really nothing he can do. My uncle even mentioned, well, why don't you move? And this man is a repo man. I have helped him track down people before repoing with him. It doesn't matter where I'm at. If there are things like the utilities that are in my name, he's going to find me. He knows Mike's name. He knows where he lives. I'm not safe anywhere. It doesn't matter where I go. That's one thing they don't get when it's somebody like that. It doesn't matter where you go at. They're going to find you. That car is still rumbling. And I know I've been on here just 20 minutes, but still 20 minutes is not too long for something to be sitting out there running. If y'all deal with people like this, let me know how you cope. And my son is not his son. My son is a completely different psycho dad that's sitting in jail, in the county jail. He hasn't even gone to trial yet because of COVID and everything. And he's the longest inmate at that Wichita County jail right now. So he's still sitting there. So I don't know which is worse. But at least with Sean's dad, I'm not sure that he's guilty. I know what he's been charged of and everything. I just don't see it. And I can't stand him. He was a very abusive man. So it's possible, but I just don't see. But I mean, it's possible. I don't know. We'll just have to see. I want to go to the hearing so bad I can't stand it, but I called here a while back and they said probably won't even be hearings for till next year, maybe. They're going to have to move on with it. It's not like they can keep him forever, I don't think. But anyway, how do y'all deal with this stuff? How do you cope and deal? What do you do when you have to look over your shoulders 24/7 to see, make sure no one's coming up behind you? I mean, what do you do? And you can't hide. You just can't. No matter what everybody says, the people that have not walked it don't know. I even put on Facebook, what do you do when someone is threatening your child constantly? And I told him, I said, don't fucking anybody call the police. I said, because the police don't do anything in this freaking town until it's too late. So don't anybody fucking tell me to call the police. I've dealt with these fucking police for 10 years with him, and he's still fucking walking the streets. Known felon, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of arrests. You know what he does. And I'm not the first. I'm just the longest, I think. I'm the stupid one that's gone back each fucking time, thinking he was really and actually a man, was he's not. So that's kind of why I haven't been on much. Probably after Mom's death, I blacked out a lot. So that kind of, I wasn't in a mindset. I probably wouldn't even known how to push play, tell y'all the truth. And just kind of why. So the overdose was accidental. I wasn't trying to kill myself. I was a little suicidal after Mom died. I'm not going to lie. I probably was. I might have done it at that point, but I didn't. And I had Xanax in. Now, I did take more than I should have, yes. But I never even intended to, I don't even know when I took them. It had to have been after I blacked out. And God, Mom, and Dad had to be in that room with me that night, because there is no way I would have been able to even call for help. I don't know how. In God's name, I did. Oh, and then, like I said, I still wasn't conscious. Nobody is up at the hospital. I couldn't get a hold of anybody because I couldn't communicate with anybody. And I ended up calling the hospital because I started looking at my chart. If y'all have it, it's records, your reports and stuff from the hospital when you're there. And I start seeing all these EKGs, normal, then all of a sudden abnormal. So they'll call the hospital so I can try to find out what happened. And apparently I had a heart attack because of the overdose. So that kind of scares me a bit. But I ended up back in the hospital that night because one reason my chest was still hurting really bad. And I called them and I kind of wanted to see what was going on because I kind of got an idea of why I was hurting. And I hadn't had anything for panic or anxiety. So that was probably part of it. Withdrawals were probably part of it. So they said get back to the hospital. And my heart looked fine. So, and labs were coming back normal. So I came home within a few hours. They were able to get me calmed down without any meds or anything. We ended up having to go back after I was discharged from the private hospital to pick up my phone. And I had 2 Xanax left in that freaking bottle. And I thought they would have kept them, disposed of them, something. No, they gave them to me. So thought I was going to have to take some last night. One of the 2, but I didn't take any. Because it upsets Mike when I take them, so I didn't. Even though I felt I kind of really needed it, I didn't. I'm going to try to live without them. I've done pretty good without any kind of, as far as alcohol goes, I've probably taken 2 sips, probably maybe more like 4 or 6 sips since the overdose. That's it. Nothing real big. Nothing like, I got to get drunk or anything. I'm more of a tequila person, to be honest, but, I don't have any tequila. So, that's kind of where we're at. Like I said, I got cousins that are about to move in, so I'm kind of looking forward to that. Kind of like the company. I think it'll help keep me grounded if Sean's at work, if Mike's at work. Kind of keep me focused where I'm not going through maybe reliving trauma and maybe blacking out, because that's my biggest fear. So I'm going to black out. I almost went after Billy the other day. I went to my doctors and said I'm about to go hurt him, and they kind of brought me down a little bit more, helped me cope and stuff. So I'm kind of afraid I'm going to black out and either go after him, or I'm going to black out and hurt somebody that I care about because I think it's him or something, and not know what I'm doing. So that kind of does scare me. So I think people being here with me, keeping me kind of grounded, alert, where I'm not focusing and thinking about that so much, or mom and stuff, that it will help. So that's kind of my goal. So the organizing and stuff, that's what I'm trying to do when I'm trying to do these dishes. Well, I got dishes in there to do too, and get these groceries put up and stuff. So that's kind of what I've been doing. So I'll start trying to do more like little videos and stuff, so y'all can see what's going on. Try to keep y'all updated. It might help me stay focused and grounded, where I'm not blacking out and everything. Sean has been a trooper. He stayed with his sister while I was in the hospital. He came over here 3 times a day, checked on Sirius, took him out, fed him, drinks, all that good stuff. Great kid. Couldn't ask for a better kid. Did get on to him last night, said bring it down some notches because you're getting too big for your pants now. Got a job, you think you're almost 17, you think you're grown, you got to bring it down a few notches. He's like, I don't try to control everything. He said, you do. And I'm like, oh, because I'm the boss. Yeah, I'm going to control things. So we'll see. But y'all watch the other videos, the grocery video and his car video, because I'm curious to see how it turns out. I really wish him the best on that. Hope he works and learns everything he wants to learn about working on cars and redoing them. I'm kind of curious to see where it goes. I told him I wanted to go drifting and stuff with him. He's like, I think it's going to scare you too much. I don't know if I can take you, but I really want to do it. So I'm looking at finding him a helmet. I'm going to have it. One of his YouTube channels is Loon. I wish he would start doing it on his YouTube, which would be interesting. So I'm going to recommend that to him. He can do it from his phone. See what he says. Or even from his computer. He doesn't have to video it, but he could probably upload it from his phone, whatever he videos. But maybe I'll recommend that to him. He needs to start working on his YouTube a little more, but he's outside all the time on that car now, and work has got him, that's all he focuses on. So good kid. Couldn't ask for a better one, but he's just gets running every once in a while, and he thinks he's boss. So just had to kind of reel him in a little. So thank you guys for watching. I would really appreciate it if you join my channel, subscribe, share, like, comment. Tell me how you cope with some narcissistic person who has tried to control and run your life for 10 years. Why I didn't see it? Why did I not see everybody all this 10 years? This is what he's doing. And my mom tried to tell me. She even tried to kill him. Her intentions were to kill him before she passed, because she didn't want me to deal with that the rest of my life. And she was afraid I would end up with him. And she was afraid I would overdose. And almost 5 months to the date, he drove me to it accidentally. But nonetheless, I overdosed. And I'm thankful to be here. That's all I can say. I am thankful to be here. So, like I said, y'all, I'd really appreciate if y'all join, like, share, subscribe, all that great stuff. And thanks for watching, guys. Y'all have a good day.